Hello, readers. Welcome to part 2 of today's lesson. And so we are on lesson 53, and we are on page 264. So we are reading about an important test. So would you please join me on 264? All right. An important test. Wendy Chan's hand shook as she picked up the pencil. The test was the most important one she had ever taken. She didn't even want to think about what would happen if she failed it. Instead, she kept telling herself, if you do well on this test, you will go on a trip across the solar system. What? Oh my goodness. So this story starts right in the middle, and we have to figure out what's happening. So we have to do some inferring. And inferring is when we kind of think about what's happening in the story and we look for clues in the story. And then we think about what do we already know, and we combine those two things to figure something out. So we know that there is a character, a person named Wendy Chan, and she's taking a test. And we know what happens if she does well on the test. She gets to go on a trip across the solar system. Wow, so we can figure out this is probably a fiction story because really we don't take tests and go on trips across the solar system. But we can figure out that this is going to be an interesting story, right? An interesting fictional story about a student who does well on a test, possibly, and maybe gets to go on a trip across the solar system. So we know this story is fiction. So maybe it's a story that takes place many years in the future when people will be able to go on these trips across the solar system. We'll have to read more to find out when this story is taking place. A woman with gray hair was standing in front of the room. Wendy was seated with about 30 other students. The students had come from different parts of Canada. So all these students are from different parts of Canada. And there's about 30 students in the room. Only 10 students would be selected to go on the trip. Those would be the students with the highest test scores. Ooh, so only 10 students get to go on the trip. And it sounds like a pretty tough test. So there's 30 students who are taking this test, and they're students from all over Canada, and only 10 of them will get to go on this trip across the solar system. So I can understand why Wendy is feeling nervous. The gray-haired woman in front of the room smiled and said, I think that you are all ready for this test. Am I correct? Yes, the students agreed. Some of them laughed. They knew what would be covered in the test, and they all wanted to go on the trip. So they had done just what Wendy had done for the past 3 months. Studied. So for the past 3 months, let's see, that's 30 plus 30 plus 30, 90 days they've been studying for this test. Wow. She had studied every night, every Saturday, every Sunday. She had thought about the test when she ate, and she had even dreamed about the test. She kept thinking about one date, the date of the test. That was the most important date in her life. November 5th, 2230, or 2230. Ooh, it's the year 2230. What year is it right now? Oh, it's the year 2020. So let's see. The year 2230, how much in the future is that? How many years in the future? See, we're at the year 2020 now. And so in 200 years into the future, it would be 2220. And then it looks like we have to add another 10 years. So this story takes place 210 years into the future. Cool. All right. Yes, she was ready for the test. Really ready. The gray-haired woman explained, I suppose that you know about these rules as well as I do, but let's go over them one more time. The test will take 4 hours. 4 hours? That's a long time for a test. You will have a 5-minute break at the end of each hour. So they'll have 1 hour, they'll take the test, have a break for 5 minutes. 1 more hour, they'll work on the test some more, have a break for 5 minutes. 1 more hour, have a break for 5 minutes, and then another hour. Wow. So the test, 4 hours long, and they get some 5-minute breaks after each hour. You may not talk about the test during these breaks, but you may walk around or get something to drink. The questions on the test will cover facts about our planet and the other planets in the solar system. It will also cover facts about the spaceships that we use to travel through the solar system. Ooh, sounds like an interesting test. The woman paused and smiled again. I know that not all of you will be chosen for this trip, and I'm sorry that not everybody can go. But I would like to remind you that even if you don't go, this test has made you a smarter person. You have learned facts that you can use for the rest of your lives. That's kind of like our school motto. We learn not for school, but for life. So even if they don't do well on this test, they've learned facts and information that can help them throughout their lives. That is a positive attitude. It's called optimism, part of fortitude. For a moment, Wendy felt like crying. She felt very sorry for students who would not be able to go on the trip. The woman concluded by saying, Good luck to all of you. You're a fine group of students. She was right. Only the best students from different parts of Canada were selected to take the test. The gray-haired woman said, All right, you may begin the test. Open your test booklets and start. Wendy turned her booklet over and opened it to item 1. The item showed a map of the world. The instructions said, Label the lettered parts of this map. That's easy, she said to herself, and quickly wrote in the name for each letter. All right, let's look at the map. So the map was on the test. Let's see if we can name the lettered parts. Everybody touch part A. There's part A. What place does that show? Yeah, Alaska. Nice job. Now part C. What place does this show? Japan. Nice job. Let's touch D. What place does this show? The Pacific Ocean. Nice job. Now let's try E. What place does that show? Canada. Nice job. And part F. What place does that show? The United States. Nice job. Wendy looked at item 2. That item appears below. 2. What kind of animals are in the picture? Oh, everybody, what's the answer? Geese. Nice. In what country are most wild ones born? What's the answer? Canada. What is a group of these animals called? What is that? A flock. How long do most of them live? Remember this one? Yeah, 30 years. Nice job. All right, what I would like you to do, second graders, is read the rest of the story to yourself. And I'm not going to ask you any more questions because we've already had 2 videos today and this video is getting quite long. I want you to read the rest of the story on your own. And then you're going to reread the story one more time. You're going to look at the questions at the end of the story, make sure you can answer them. And then you're going to complete your workbook, read for 20 more minutes, and have a wonderful rest of the day. And I will see you again tomorrow.